This video has not been made possible by Paradox Interactive, but it's made on my own initiative to promote the Stellaris ModJam 2020. If you want to get involved, make sure that you subscribe to the ModJam using one of the links in the description below for either the workshop or Paradox mods. Go and check it out. You will not be disappointed. The ModJam continues, and today we're going to be talking about behind the scenes of a smaller origin compared to the other ones, but it doesn't necessarily mean it does not have the same level of impact. And what do I mean by a smaller origin? Well, overall, it does not really have all that much to it, but it doesn't mean that it is extremely interesting. First of all, I've set up my little empire here, and we can go over to our origin, and that is, of course, behind the scenes. Now, behind the scenes really puts you in a position as the puppet master behind the galaxy, moving your envoys into position and basically say, hey, those empires over there, other empire, they're up to no good, don't you think? They seem rather tired. Yes, indeed they do. Because behind the scenes does the following. First of all, the origin itself, it's relatively straightforward. Every single time you have a rival and they go to war, you will be prompted with a little pop-up that says, hey, your rival has gone to war. Would you like to join the person who they are attacking or going to war with? Would you like to join them and attack your rival? That is an option. And that's really interesting because it really adds a lot of subterfuge to the game. Basically, your rivals are no longer safe to declare war on anybody. And with this particular setup, it makes things a lot more interesting, especially if you are looking at a single-player game and you have a behind-the-scenes empire within, because they can just go to war at a whim, even though they are not prompted to, which makes for a lot of very, very interesting scenarios. In addition to that, there are Shadow Masters, which basically allows you to go to war at any time as long as anybody goes to war. So basically, if anybody declares said war, you will be able to attack them. And that by themselves is pretty darn powerful because it gives you the opportunity just to dive into any war and jump on the small guy, and all of a sudden they've got two fronts open, which is incredibly powerful. Then one of my more favorite parts of this particular origin is spread rumors. Basically what it does is it's a little edict that you enable. It costs you a bunch of influence, same with Shadow Masters, by the way, and effectively what it does is everybody that is a rival of yours will receive a negative empire modifier to everybody. So basically what it boils down to is that everybody who is within their reach and they have communication with will receive a negative modifier towards that empire, ever so slowly pushing them to war. People will start to hate each other because, well, some empires are your rival, which means that if you spread those rumors, others won't like them either. Slowly but steadily, once again, pushing them to war. And finally, once all those wars have finished and that rival, which you obviously can no longer rival, is pathetic, it's time to deploy the Coup de Grace, which is a special causes belly that you can deploy on all pathetic empires. All pathetic empires, which is ridiculous. Basically what it means is you just destroy them outright. So you start off rivaling somebody, you go to war if they go to war, then you spread those rumors to make sure that people go to war with them even more, and then you do the Shadow Masters, and whenever anybody goes to war, you can attack them as well, and then finally you do the Coup de Grace and take them down, and that by itself is really, really good. In addition to that, you have some incredibly powerful abilities. Envoy Improve Relations plus 100% is so good because basically what it means is that you can set up a federation really early on by getting those relationships up and running. It synergizes extremely well with things like Diplomatic Corps, for instance. And in addition to that, Harm Relationships plus 100% is also there. So you can harm those relations so as much as you want. And finally, +2 rivalries just means that you can dance from the shadows even more. Now, It is important to know that you cannot be pacifist, you cannot be fanatic purifier, you cannot be determined exterminator or devouring swarm, because those last three, well, they don't really do communications to begin with, or any sort of diplomacy, and pacifists, well, it doesn't really fit now, does it? This is the perfect role-playing empire to play behind the shadows, and especially considering the expansion that is coming up that involves espionage, this is going to be even more interesting as a mod. Still though, I've set up this little empire, of course. We've got some traits. They are intelligent, unruly, rapid breeders, pretty much the standard stuff. We've added Diplo Core on top of that for even more envoys to get even more bonuses onto other empires. And finally, Byzantine bureaucracy, authoritarian. All this stuff doesn't really matter, but what does really matter is the fact that I've called my empire Cerberus, and my leader is called Redacted, and the ruler title is Elusive Man. Let's take a quick look at the game and see how this all works out and how all of this comes together. Now, as you can see, our empire is nicely on its way. We're about 63 years into the game. We got ourselves a nice little federation. It is, of course, the Cerberus Initiative. It is a hegemony because I was capable of basically sending out super awesome envoys to everybody, and basically they joined at a whim, which is super nice, of course. But the real thing is here is we got a bunch of influence. We got the Shadow Masters, which allows us to join any war on either side. We're going to enable that right now. And on top of that, we can also spread some rumors. Let's do that as well. The Master of Whisperers pops up, and instantly the propaganda machine will start running, and all of a sudden, key members throughout the galaxy are having opinions swayed in a negative way, at least towards our rivals. Yeah, these guys are currently rivaling us over here, and as you can see, they do not like us all that much, which is, of course, a problem. However, we are allied to their rivals, which makes things really good. Now, what we could do here is that we could just go declare war on them, but that's not something that we want to do. What we want to do instead, however, is we click over towards these guys, and we go to the AI Attitudes map mode. You can see all of a sudden that these guys do not like these guys at all. And that has to do with the fact that slowly but steadily, well, they will start to hate them even more because we are spreading rumors about them, specifically throughout the galactic community at large, which means that, well, we're going to have some problems in the near future. These guys are going to go to war sooner or later. Most likely these guys with these guys, and then all bets are off. However, considering we have the behind-the-scenes modifier enabled, it means that we can go to war with whomever we want to, as long as these guys basically declare said war. So if these guys declare war on these guys, we can jump into this war and fight on their behalf and invade them. And that is really awesome because it means that we have a lot of power behind us, especially considering we're federated. And effectively what it means is that our entire federation will start to move in towards a general direction of this here empire. In addition, we can just go ahead and say, hey, aliens over here, would you like to join our federation? It seems like a masterful idea. You guys over here, we're going to go ahead and improve our relationships as well. And I'm going to give you association status while we're at it. And then eventually we'll be able to get some wonderful federation status with them, which is awesome because basically it means that we are the big boys on the block. The Behind the Shadows system is incredibly powerful, and once we have managed to go to war and we've knocked down a bunch of these empires, it basically allows us to do pretty much whatever. Let's go ahead and say that we want to declare rivalry on these guys. We can't currently, so let's harm some relationships. And let's do that right now, and we can declare a rivalry on them, and instantly we will potentially run into some problems. Now, obviously, they are a scion, which causes some potential issues in the future. However, we may be able to do some cool stuff with that. Let's jump into the future and see what everything holds with Coup de Grace. Now, we've moved forward in time a little bit here, and I've gone to war with these guys a couple times, and it appears that they've got themselves a nice little megastructure in space. It's a ruined Dyson sphere. It's clearly stuck inside of the star, but that doesn't matter. What does matter, however, is that they are, in fact, pathetic to us compared to our fleet power of 15k that's sitting over here. Now, this is the thing. We went to war we did all the Shadow Master stuff. They tried to attack some other people, and of course it didn't go too well because we went to war on the other side's behalf. But now they're pathetic, so now it's time for us to declare war with Coup de Grace. Basically, we want to go ahead and do a death blow to this here empire, and basically we want to make sure... There we go. We're gonna go move in. It's a bit of a patchwork at the moment because other empires have like weird claims and stuff going on. That's all perfectly fine. Totally understandable. Here, have some energy. I don't really care about you right now because I've got energy till the end of time. And as you can see, all of a sudden, I am getting all of these systems up and running. I'm doing that for my ally, of course, in this particular case. What I can do, however, is maybe try to claim some systems somewhere. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case anytime soon, but it does mean that I can go ahead and start claiming all these systems. It is, in fact, a total war scenario, and it only applies to pathetic empires, making sure they can't do anything. Why would I tributize them? Why would I vassalize them? Why would I turn them into a satrapy and then integrate them over time? It completely bypasses that part of the system, and effectively it means that you can go ahead and conquer them outright rather than having to go through all that integration nonsense. That's right. Oh, it's really good, actually. I do enjoy the mechanical side of this. There's not a lot of story to it, but still, having the wonders of Coup de Grace as well as some of the other things in here is really, really good, and I do like it. This is made by Complex, the person behind the Hive Queen mod, which is also extremely good, and you should definitely go ahead and try this one, try it out, because it's one of the better mods out on the workshop, at least in my particular opinion. And it looks like I managed to get some territory here. Good, because it's not bordering this stuff, so that's all good. I want to go ahead for the Dyson Sphere. But yeah, it's all part of the ModJam. You can go ahead and download that right now, or at least subscribe to it right now on the Steam Workshop. There's a link for that below in the description. This may not be as fleshed out as some of the other ones. It may not be as in-depth as Ancient Juggernaut or expansive like Freebooters, but it's still really, really good due to the synergetic mechanics that it brings to the game, and it really allows for a more creative way of playing, especially from a role-playing point of view, because we are, of course, the elusive man, and we control everything, and that's exactly what we are doing. I also named all of my leaders autonomous drone number because, well, we are in fact part of a secret cabal, so, you know, we can't actually have real names being applied to our leaders. Yeah, so here, elusive man, autonomous drone 15. Well done to you. Well done to this war. We're gonna go and wrap this one up here. Once again, make sure you subscribe to the workshop item for this particular mod. It is, of course, once again, part of the ModJam. It is incredibly good, and that will be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my patrons for making this video happening. We'll be back again tomorrow with some more ModJam goodness. The elusive man will continue. However, the whole behind-the-scenes shenanigans, the origin that is really good. Go and try it out.